Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we're very honored today to have Shaykh Atabek with us, teaching the fiqh of Janaza and the shrouding of and washing of the body. Inshallah, we don't do too long an introduction. Most people know who Shaykh Atabek is. He's a Hanafi faqih, a scholar from Uzbekistan. Also, he's been teaching in the UK for quite many years now, teaching many different courses, many different subjects. Without further ado, because we don't want to delay too much, we'll get the Shaykh started.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we are going to do the fiqh of Janaza from both the theoretical as well as the practical side here, inshallah. And question answer will be at the end, as well as while I'm explaining, I will be pleased if anyone can stop me to ask two questions about anything that you want. In terms of a worksheet, inshallah, today, inshallah, after the lecture, you will get the handouts emailed to your mailboxes, inshallah. It is just in the Word format. Whatever we'll discuss right now, you will have that written with the references, inshallah. Brothers will email it to you. Okay, so Bismillah, alhamdulillah. So the most important thing is I think, because it is practical knowledge in terms of giving ghusl, but very briefly we will do the theoretical side, very briefly. First of all, it used to be sunnah before, but no more in our time. It used to be sunnah if in the past centuries, if we would see a sign of a death with someone, so for example someone is dying, to lay him down on his right side. Okay, so just to turn him. So it's just to make it to be easier for him actually to pronounce shahadatain. That's what they used to say. As well as, because normally when we place the body in the grave, so it will be easier for us to put. Or otherwise, if person dies laying on his back, so on his right side will be very solid. So you will be unable to put him laying on his right side. Okay, so in the grave, what do? In the grave, they will just prepare some, with the dust, they make some small hole like that. So just when you will place the body on his right side, he does not fall off, he does not fall down. Did you understand? So because of that reason, it used to be recommended in the past centuries to turn the dying person on his right side, right shoulder. Okay, but the latest scholars say just leave the person alone, dying anyhow he finds comfortable. Okay, so we do not turn him, we do not do anything, but only we just carry on reminding about shahadatain. Okay, first of all, what are the symptoms of the person who is dying? So a person will start looking toward the top. Okay, not toward the top means the roof, but whatever is above his head. Okay, so he will start looking towards that side. Okay, so if you will find the person dying on that position, looking toward the head, means now he started dying. Okay, as well as, you know, the legs. Okay, shins will get like crossed. Okay, and then he will be like tightened. Okay, as well as the nose will go towards one side, either left or either right. Okay, and then when you will see the jaws just falling off, means finished. He died. Rasulullah ﷺ says, whenever a person dies, his eye will follow his ruh. Okay, so that's why normally most of us, when we die, our eyes will stay open and eyes will be looking toward the top. Okay, because our ruh will be taken. Okay, or to be more accurate, our ruh will be detached from our body, because we, majority of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we do not believe that ruh is inside of the body, but ruh wherever it was, but there is a connection. So that connection will be just disconnected, and that connection will be disconnected somewhere in this area. So when it will be disconnected, then we just look, just we see the ruh. Okay, so that is the thing. And also there are some asar from the Sahaba and Tabi'in saying that the sign of a person dying on good status is that he will be sweating. Okay, so after his death you will find his forehead wet. Okay, and then some of the scholars said it's because when you will be given good news that Allah is waiting for you and Allah has forgiven everything and you are going to paradise, you will feel ashamed, because normally when you feel extremely ashamed, so you find your forehead sweating. Okay, I remember my teachers used to teach us saying, giving us this reasoning, but I used to find it strange. Until once it happened to me. Okay, so it was an incident of a marriage incident. Okay, I went to some of the shuyukh, okay, and he was a great sheikh, scholar, as well as Qadri sheikh. Okay, and then actually I asked him, saying, Sayyidi, please I'm really looking to marry, etc. So then, anyway, after a couple of weeks, I went back just to remind him. Okay, so when I went, he said, you came to remind me, don't you think that I'll just ask about you? So then I found myself like very ashamed, you know. And then I started sweating from my forehead. So he just picked up tissues, thrown, saying just wipe it away, you know. So it happens. So when you are very extremely and ashamed, but you are not trying to look beautiful like ashamed, good, you know, but properly, like from your hair, so then you find that sweating on your forehead. Okay? So that's how person who is expecting his death, he will be afraid of his sins. And when he will be given a news saying that Allah is giving you salam and you're going to paradise, then you will be ashamed of whatever you have done, so that's how you will sweat. Okay? And may Allah give us this type of ending, inshallah. Anyway, so also in terms of reminding shahadatain, we have to be very careful. We never order the dying person to say La ilaha illallah. But what do? We just very gently say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That's it. Okay? But we say this kalimatain only if dying person speaks. But what about if dying person says, for example, now La ilaha illallah, and then dies after 5 hours, but after that he never speaks. After saying La ilaha illallah, he never speaks. So then we do not remind him. Why? Because Rasulullah says, Man kana akhiru kalamihi la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah, kama qala, means anyone says La ilaha illallah, and if that will be his last word, so he will enter paradise. Rasulullah never said that saying La ilaha illallah just before death. Rasulullah said La ilaha illallah last word before your death. Means you can say La ilaha illallah now, then die after 5 days, but within that time you didn't say anything, so hadith will include you. Okay? So if person says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, that's it. We just leave him alone until he says some worldly thing. For example, give me a water. You give him a water, and then you say gently La ilaha illallah. Do not say La ilaha illallah, but say in yourself, by yourself, just say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So that is the way of reminding. Okay? And also, the latest scholars, the latest Hanafi, they recommend us to recite Surah Al-Fatiha just in front of a people who is dying, but not loudly, okay, as Shaykh Abdul Basit does. We have mashallah Egyptian shuyukh sitting there. We don't want Shaykh Abdul Basit to be in the presence of dying person, okay? You know, that type of, we don't need that, okay? But gently, just reading half voice, okay? Our scholars say it will help the dying person to die easily, with least possible pains, okay, as well as to make the death easier for him to say La ilaha illallah, etc. And also, just some aqidawi matter, we Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we do believe on something called Sakaratul Maut. Okay, Sakaratul Maut means drunkenness of the death. Okay, and many groups actually they deny it, but we do believe. Drunkenness of the death is the last bit of your time when shaitan has the biggest hope and the biggest struggle to misguide you. Okay, and then Rasulullah in one of the hadith did give us some small understanding of Sakratul Maut, saying that just before you will be dying, just a couple of seconds left, so you will see your passed away relatives. Most likely it will be your father and mother, but it's not your father and mother. It's just shayateen are taking a shape of your parents just to misguide you. Okay, Rasulullah says that first person will come to you, as far as I remember, it was your mother actually, saying, "Oh my son, do not die as you are, as a Muslim, because I died as a Muslim, but after my death, I found that true religion was so and some other religion." Okay, and then he will wait. If it does not affect, another shaitan will come in the shape of your father, saying, "Do not die in this religion because I found it false, because I died as a Muslim and I found it false, but die as so and so religion." Okay, some other religion. And then it is actually the last, you can say, jumps of shaitan, hoping to misguide you. Okay, so try to stay solid. Okay, and if you remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة. Am I right? Means Allah will support the people standing on the solid ground, solid word in this dunya and hereafter. So scholars say it will include the time when you will be dying as well as the time, so in this dunya is when you are dying, and hereafter is in graveyard. Okay, so you will be tested twice as a last. So the first one is just when you will be dying, and the last one, inshallah, is in your grave. You will be tested. Okay, so that is the thing. So then the main important thing is, if you remember Imam Qurtubi in his Tazkirah mentioning whatever you will be engaged with in this dunya, so that what will come out exactly when you will be dying. And then Imam Qurtubi compares the heart to the sponge, okay, which has got water in it, or whatever is in there. When you squeeze it, so that what will come out. So then he says that when we'll be dying, so our heart will be just squeezed for the last time. So whatever was in there, it will come out. Okay? Maybe some of us will mention, may Allah give us, that all of us will say it. We will say, Ya Allah, you know. But some of us will say, Ya Rasulullah, just amazing. But unfortunately, some of us may say the name of one of the singers, Bollywood, Hollywood singers, actors. So because that's what we were engaged with, okay, we have got their pictures in our houses, biography books, you know, that. So that what, when it will be squeezed, that what will come out. Okay, so may Allah protect us. Anyway, so that is reminding the dying person. Okay, but as soon as person dies, straight away try to straighten his hands. Okay, because normally straight after the death, body will be still fresh, soft. You can move. Okay, but after just maybe half an hour, it will become very tough, solid. You cannot move it. You know. So after the death, try to make the hands and everything just straight. Okay? But sometimes it could be that maybe some of the brothers, because they didn't know, so they did not straighten. So what do we do then? We bring, do you know that plastic silicone heating equipment, what do they call it? You put hot water. Do you know that silicone? In heating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, you put hot water into that silicone bag. Water bag, yeah. So very hot water, just put it there, and if his hand is just tightened like that, just you will put it on top of his joints, and it becomes soft, just for very short time. So as it becomes short, so you will start pulling it, okay, dragging it, just to straighten the hands, okay. But most of the time it will not be perfectly straightened. So that's why catch up. As soon as person dies, just put it back. Okay, but do not hurry. I mean, it could be that person is still alive, but then you will do not scare the person, you know. And also just you have to tie up the jaws also, because as I said, when person dies, so his jaws will come off. Okay, we will bring a fabric just to put it back, and then just to tie it up. As well as his eyes will be open. You say Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulullah, and you close his eyes also. Okay. So now the person is ready for the ghusl. It is makruh tahriman in Hanafi madhab to delay the ghusl of the dead person. As soon as person dies, so you have to take the person to give a ghusl, the body to give a ghusl, and to take for Janaza. Okay? So very briefly, I will explain theoretically because practical knowledge, and then we'll go to do it then. So as soon as the person dies, after this procedure, like closing his eyes, etc., and then normally we will need 3 people. That is the best ever option. Okay, so one person will be giving ghusl, okay, and 2 people will be holding the fabric on top of the awra. Okay, so now, after the death, what do we do? First of all, we just go to the table on which we'll be giving ghusl to the person. We just make bakhur in there. Okay, just, do you know how to use the bakhur? Just smoking perfume. Okay, and then we just take it around maybe for 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, it doesn't matter. And after that we bring the body and we will put it there without taking out any clothes. So after putting the body there, 2 people will be holding a fabric. Okay, one person from this side and another person from that side, just on top of the awra. And when our awra is closed, inshallah I will demonstrate it, then you will take off the clothes, everything. Okay, nothing should be there. Okay, for example, rings, earrings, okay, everything, necklace, everything will be taken off. Okay, and then after removing all of the clothes, the first thing that we do is we just give wudu, normal wudu. Okay, but without washing the nose and mouth. Okay, and everything else is just as it is. So first we wash the palms, then face, and then the arms, then wiping over the head, and then feet. Now wudu is finished. So we do not wash the mouth and nose. Also, in classical Hanafi madhab, we say that it's not permissible to use the cotton. Okay, but for some reason in our time, majority of the people, they use the cotton. They put a cotton inside of the mouth, nose as well as the ears. Why? Because when you're washing the body, water will come up, go in. Just to avoid it, they do use it. Or otherwise, initially in Hanafi madhab, we do not do it. Okay? So that's why, if you are the person who is doing it, so do not put a cotton in the mouth, etc. Do not do it. But if someone else is doing and you are supporting the person, then leave him alone. Let him to apply his own way of doing. Okay? Do not cause misunderstanding. So after wudu, what do we do? We actually wash the head. We give just normal ghusl. Wash the head. First head, and then we put the body on the left side. Okay, on the left side, turn on the left side, and then we start washing the body from his right shoulder, just putting water, making sure that water touches everything in the body, all over the body. Okay, once, and after that we turn the body on another side, on the right side, to wash from the left side. Okay, so all of that time actually, we will be making sure that two people are just holding the fabric, so to not to uncover the aura. Okay, so everything will be washed, private places, etc. Normally, they use some specific gloves. Okay, from the palm side, it will be very thick, like a fabric. Okay, so because when you will be making ghusl, so you do not touch the skin of the person. Okay, so with one hand you will be putting water, with another you will be making sure that water is everywhere. Okay, and after that, after giving ghusl actually, so now ghusl is ready. So after that, it is the procedure of using the kafan. Before that, definitely we just wipe with a towel, wipe the body of the dead body with a towel, and then we put perfume. There is specific perfume for the dead people on the places of sajda. So it is forehead, nose, two palms, two knees, and two toes, legs, feet. Sorry. Okay. So after that, body is ready for kafan. Okay. Yes.
Is there any perfume or is there a sunnah?
No, there is some specific type of perfume, like a kafur actually. They use kafur, as well as the kafan. Do you know the kafan? Before using it on the dead body, you have to use the bakhur. You have to use bakhur, okay, just to smoke the fabric, the kafan, before using them. Okay. Unfortunately, in our time, we do not use the bakhur quite often, do we? Yeah, so after doing the bakhur, now kafan is ready. For the male, we use 3 pieces of kafan. For female, 5. Yes, Eli.
You can only washing the one side of the body. You start with the right side, then you go to the left side. How about the chest and the back?
Yes. So when you put the water, so it should go everywhere. It's not only the shoulder. Inshallah, I will demonstrate now. So everything in the body. Okay, so you will put the water from there, so you have to see that it washes everything and hits the ground from the left side.
So you start with the shoulder, and so you're working your way downwards to your legs,
Yeah,
or you're doing it from...
from here, yeah. Because head is done already, and then from the shoulder toward the toes. Yeah.
You mentioned about closing the jaws and closing the eyes. Now, people die in different circumstances. For example, if somebody is in the hospital, would you tie the jaws there, or would you take it, to the morgue or whatever, and then do it there?
It is adab, because we have to show the respect to the dead person, so it is as soon as possible actually. So we do not leave the person with like open jaw, so straight away. It is a way of showing respect to the human being. Yeah, so that is another thing. So for the male dead body, we give 3 pieces of a cloth. Okay, cloth. Okay, so the first one is the very first one that you place on the table is lifafa. Okay, and before that we place the izar, and then the first one is qamis. So lifafa will cover the person from the head to the toe, everything. And izar also. So qamis is the shortest one, because qamis from the shoulder up to the toes. Okay, and then after that we place the. So there are 2 ways of doing it. Can I have just one paper, please? A piece of paper, please, on page. There are 2 types of making. There are 2 types of making There are 2 types of making the kafan. One is just you place, let's suppose that this is the dead body. No, it's just to show you that I'm really, modern. So that is the head. So there are two ways. So one way is just you use it as it is without making any holes. Just you put the body and then you just cover his body like that. Did you understand? One side, second side. There is another way of doing it. So you make it like this. So it will be. Have you seen Mexican cloth? What do they call it? Poncho. Poncho. So it is the same. So even the hole will be like a poncho. Okay. So you will make a hole in there. So it is only with qamis only. Lifafa and izar will stay as it is. So there is and then you will put on the qamis like that. That is ready. Now is ready. Did you understand? So which one of them two ways you follow, it's entirely up to you. Okay, which one is easier for you to do, you can apply any of them too. But the majority of the people that I met doing ghusl, they use this one. So they put the body and then they just cover up from both sides. Okay, so that is qamis, from the shoulder up to the toes. And after that, izar, covering whole of the body. And after that, lifaf, again, covering whole of the body. And normally, when you cover up, roll up the body inside of the kafan, so there is high risk of uncovering. Did you understand? So to avoid it, people, they use 2 or 3, you can say, belts. It's just proper fabric. Okay? They just tie it up from the middle and from the top in terms of like on top of the head. Okay? Because normally they leave the head open with the male. As well as towards the feet. They just tie it up, just to make sure that when you are praying Janaza or etc., taking the person to the graveyard, the kafan does not get disclosed. But even then, when you place the person to the qabr, to the grave, you have to remove the belts. You have to leave the person with no belts there. Okay? So that is in terms of a male kafan. But what about the female? It is exactly the same one, but with 2 extra. 2 extra. One is khimar, to cover all of the head up to the belly button. Okay, and one is khirqa, just piece of a fabric, just to tie up the breasts. Okay, so just to put it there and then just to tie it up there. Okay, in terms of ladies, we normally just make it 2 braided like hairs to put them on top of the chest. Okay, with the ladies. But do we comb the hair or do we cut the nails? We do not do any of them. We leave the person as he died. Okay. Also, for example, by removing the, for example, rings, etc. If there are teeth, so we do not remove nothing, like a golden teeth. We just leave it as it is. Yeah.
I know of a situation where nowadays girls get these acrylic nails put on and stuff, and someone passed away with them nails on, the fake ones.
Yeah.
What?
Like plastic.
Yeah, they had a bit of an issue. Do they take it off? Do they leave it on?
Mashallah. Definitely, you will take it off. But after burying, we do not open the grave because of that.
No,
but
at that time of ghusl, they were a bit
you
confused.
have to remove it. Yeah. And also, there is a bit tricky issue with the ladies. Do you know the ladies that use makeup for the nails? Nails. Nail polish, yeah. So that is only permissible during the monthly cycle, am I right?
Yeah.
Because if you have them on, you cannot make proper wudu and not you can make a proper ghusl, am I right? So they can do it only when they are going through a monthly cycle, because then they don't have to pray, so they don't have to make wudu, so they can just put it on. But if, let's suppose that your patient, that body, ladies are giving ghusl, so that body has got that, because she was going through monthly cycle. Do they have to remove it or not? What do you think?
Yeah.
Ghusl is wajib, specifically if in this type of situation, ghusl becomes more wajib. Okay? So then, if the thing is there, without removing it, you cannot perform a valid ghusl, am I right? Yes, so do I have to remove it or not? So it is valid question, and answer I say, Wallah alam, it looks like that you should remove.